Where do things stand with Coach Prime in Colorado at this point? Lost last night to UCLA. Final score was 28-16 in the Rose Bowl. And it's unfortunate with the way that this thing has trended, because I think a lot of people put really high expectations on Colorado when they started out 3-0. Were they fair? Were they unfair? What do we make of Colorado? Again, right like I said with this thumbnail and with this lower third, where do things stand currently in Boulder, Colorado? For this team, for Coach Prime, for Shedeur Sanders, for Travis Hunter. We'll talk about it right now. First things first, make sure you subscribe right here. College football, only college football, as honest and true and pure as we can possibly give it to you. Okay, no hot takes, nothing baked into this that doesn't have to do with football, like just ball and only ball. Call it like we see it, we cherish it, we celebrate it, we talk about it. So if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, make sure you subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, same handle, at JD Pickell. A great way for us to interact and for us to keep you in the loop with what we got going on right here on this show when we're live 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So with that out of the way, I continue to be impressed with how this team battles. The final score was the final score. All right, it is what it is, 28-16. We already talked about it, but the way this team continues to battle week in and week out, regardless of the result, I'm impressed by it. Because that was my question after the first loss. After you go down bad to Oregon, what happens? Are you going to break apart? Are you going to say, well, we all kind of transferred here anyway? This is a new operation as a whole. I don't know if I really trust Coach Prime anymore. I don't know if I want to really be a part of this anymore. We're going to see that tailspin, or we see this team kind of steady themselves, see this locker room steady themselves, the staff steady this team, and move forward and keep fighting. I saw the ladder yesterday, and I've seen the ladder now a couple of times from this team. They forced 4 turnovers yesterday, did Colorado. Typically, if you get 4 extra possessions, you're going to win the football game. Now, the reason why they didn't is because they have very obvious limitations offensively. Now, notice what I did not say. I did not say they aren't good offensively. I said they have obvious limitations. Because what Colorado has from a personnel standpoint, it's no secret. They have trouble running the football. They have trouble protecting the quarterback. Shedeur Sanders was sacked 10 times yesterday. It's hard to lose a game when you have 4 turnovers, but it's also hard to win a game when you're sacked 10 times. So let's make sure that whole thing is clear. So for Colorado, offensively, what went wrong? They have consistently one move, and that is the quick perimeter pass game, and then making plays off that quick perimeter pass game. So maybe it's a bubble and go. Maybe it's a quick throw if you get a coverage you like. So UCLA, they said, we know that you're going to try and throw that ball quickly because you don't feel good about protecting your quarterback. We're going to play you really tight. We're going to play physical on the perimeter, and we're going to make you beat us that way. In Colorado, sure, they scored a little bit there, but it wasn't consistent enough for them to be able to ultimately win this football game and have the rhythm they need to get this thing done. We're all on the same page there about that. So what I think we got to look at here for Colorado, again, not a definition we got to make about what skill they have or how good of an offensive coordinator Sean Lewis is or how good Shedeur Sanders is. Does everybody have some blame? Probably so. That's the way football works. But again, very difficult to play chess when you only have one move like this Colorado offense does. I believe they averaged 1 yard a carry yesterday. That is the definition of having one move offensively. Very difficult to go and beat somebody in a boxing match when you have no counterpunch. Now, defensively, kind of a similar issue. Line of scrimmage. What are we doing up front? You cannot win if you cannot consistently hold your own in the trenches. You can't get a push. And that was shown yesterday outside of what you saw in that football game in the box score, 218 rush yards. Here's the kicker. 45 carries for 4.8 yards a carry from UCLA. You run the ball 45 times at a football team, you know, okay, hey, there's no secret what we're doing here. We know what you can't stop. We like our chances running the ball against you. We're going to do it 45 times. Try and stop us. Like, it's obvious. The personnel at this point in time is not where it needs to be to win up front. And that was why they lost the game. Not because Travis Hunter isn't incredible. He is. He had 2 interceptions and looked, once again, like a once-in-a-generation kind of player. Shedeur Sanders, I think as a whole, just tough, gritty competitor. Like, I was impressed by the way he carried himself yesterday for the most part in that game. So, what did we see? Is Deion Sanders a fraud? Is Colorado overrated? Shedeur Sanders not really that good. Travis Hunter, is he actually going to be all that at Colorado? Will he actually get developed? Like, I don't think any of that is fair criticism for where we're at right now. What we saw yesterday was a year one roster with a bunch of transfer portal guys against a team that's in their 6th year under Chip Kelly. Solidified standards, a lot of recruiting classes. Chip Kelly, his first year at Chip Kelly, his first year at UCLA was 3-9. Deion Sanders already won 4 games in his first year at Colorado. Other people overhyped Colorado. I don't think there's anything that we're saying right now about Colorado that we didn't say to a degree at the beginning of the year. Now, I did not think it would come together as quickly as it did and for them to start 3-0. But other people overhyping Colorado is not a statement on what Colorado is right now. Like, 2 things can coexist. One, you can believe in Deion Sanders and what he's going to be in Boulder. You can believe it's going to work. Like we do, we believe he's going to get a lot of talent. We believe as long as he stays there and builds that thing, they're going to be a force. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be relevant, especially once they get those big boys. We can also understand that this thing probably isn't going to be fixed overnight. You bring in an entirely new roster. Yeah, you got some talent, but I think at this point we kind of know what this team is. Going to play really hard, got a really good quarterback, have a really good OC, have some really good skill, but they're limited on the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. It is what it is. I don't need to point the finger. I don't need to say it's somebody's fault and they're just going to fail miserably. It's the first year. It was always about the future with Deion Sanders when he got hired at Colorado. It was never about the college football playoff in year 1 or winning the Pac-12. Nobody that actually watches this sport thought that was going to happen. Okay? So it's not an indictment on Deion Sanders where they're at right now. It's quite frankly the process that we all already knew was happening in Boulder, Colorado, that they were undergoing. Now, are they ahead of schedule? I think so. And if they win a bowl game, I'll rephrase that. If they make it to a bowl game, if they win 2 more games, get to 6 wins, become bowl eligible, that would mean you're getting 2 of Oregon State, Arizona, Washington State, Utah. You probably look at Arizona and at Washington State as the 2 most quote-unquote winnable football games. We'll see what happens there. But for me, again, we know what this team is. The rest of the way, it's about creating snapshots. And we've seen a lot of snapshots this year that live in our minds from what this Colorado team is. College game day being there. The way that they beat TCU the first game of the season and kind of burst onto the scene. The way that they played Arizona State. Comeback kind of fashion in the 4th quarter. The way that they had that final drive to beat Colorado State. The way they hung with USC, a really potent USC offense. Like, there's been multiple snapshots that can live in our mind now of what Colorado is. I say the rest of the way is an opportunity to develop more of those, and they need to make more of those, because guess what that is? That's recruiting fodder. That's recruiting ammunition, rather. Like, that's going to be something you can go package up, take to recruits, say you want to be a part of this. Look what we did right here. Come help us build upon that. And once they get the big boys, man, I'm just saying, let's see where we're at in the spring with Colorado. Because if they get the big boys to go with that skill that they're already going to have in-house, I fully believe that. And I think they'll go to the portal again this spring and this offseason, rather, and get more talent on the perimeter. They're going to be a force. So people overhyped Colorado when they got 3-0. It is what it is. Does it mean they're a fraud? Does it mean Deion Sanders and his plan isn't going to work? No. It means none of that. It means it's a process. It means they have limitations. And it means they're going to work in the future to kind of put the flex seal over those things and make it a new operation to go and be more competitive and take that next step. Because when they get those big boys and they do take that next step, that's going to be the trampoline for them going forward. That's going to be the thing that catapults them now from being exciting and competitive and relevant to being, again, a force in college football. I can't wait to watch it. It's unlike anything else we've ever seen in the sport. It's good for the sport. And Colorado now, 2 more wins, get to a bowl. Good things are happening in Boulder. Make sure you subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel. Hey, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling as we always do. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.